to join the Zoom 10 o'clock Mexico time. So he going to do the ritual for blessing to the stupa. And when Garchen Rinpoche come into the zone, so here we're going to chant the Achi small offering, the Spanish. Then he going after that, Garchen Rinpoche do the blessing, and so that's we have the program. So now, if you have any questions about stupa, so you can ask questions, and Abilado, you can ask question him, you can ask question me, and you can ask question to where is the Dorje? Okay, Dorje. So he is the here when we build the stupa, so he get the engineering. So we're going to talk short time together, discussion. Okay. Okay, can you share something?
Yes. Hello, good morning, everybody. They don't see.
Yeah.
No, maybe like this. Oh yeah, I see.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. Do you hear?
Yes, I can hear. Thank you.
George is coming. The architect of the stupa is joining us today also. And do you have any questions so far?
Will you be able to go inside? Are people able to go inside the bottom of the stupa? It looks like a little altar room, shrine room. Will that be open to people or not in the future?
You or me?
You answer the first one and I the second.
Okay. So yes, it's when 2 years ago, right?
Yes.
So Abilado he showed me this land. So we log the directions every, the symbols, directions. So this place is the perfect to build the stupa. Yeah. So many reasons.
And the stupa is facing south. And so, as you can see, in the four directions, when we first visited the place, we did a small ceremony. And Kempo, since this is a stupa for liberation, has to be facing from north to south. And this land, as you can see, has a road in front of it. So I think it made the perfect sense for people to pass by to be looking at the stupa. It doesn't matter if they stop or not, they will see it. And that is very significant. And I think that's it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Anyone?
I think Ed wants to.
Okay, Ed, can you hear ADG?
Oh, I wasn't speaking yet. But okay, so Dorje mentioned that when they cut the tree down, and I assume it was cut down in Mexico. You can hear?
Hello, Zooms.
Hello.
Who is the?
Hello.
Debe has a question.
What's happening? Sorry.
Can you hear us okay?
Here, this Zoom actually cannot hear.
Yeah, Ed was asking a question.
You
Lina has a
you
question.
can hear, right?
Yeah, we can
We
hear.
hear you, but you can't hear us.
Okay, Lina, your question. Yes.
and understanding. Because I interviewed some people who've been working on this for a week. I interviewed some people who come from town every day. And they said, I don't know what
Mm.
this is. They said it's beautiful.
Yes, it's wonderful question. Great.
Can you repeat the question?
Okay. Thank you, Virginia.
Lina.
Thank you, Lina. Yes, I'm gonna try to be clear on this one, and we're just talking about the intention of the stupa, and we believe, as Kempo explained yesterday, the stupa by itself is a symbol of a Buddha, and anybody who can just see the stupa will understand why we are here. The stupa represents the Buddha nature, and we believe that we can have people coming from Dharma centers to teach us what the tradition is. We can also invite uh, teachers, yoga teachers, meditation teachers, who can really make a bridge between the Buddhist tradition and people from Loma Bonita to begin with. But the idea is not just to communicate with the people to Loma Bonita, but to communicate and to spread the Dharma for everybody. I have the vision that this place could become a center of a gravity center for Dharma in Mexico, not only for people in Loma Bonita. But we still don't know how to do it. So we accept suggestions. If you know how to, welcome, come here.
Yes. So that's we told the discussion like also first day. So that's why I share the teaching 5 o'clock every day. We first like see Abelardo sisters and through their friends, we invited them. And yesterday also many see these workers also talk the refuge. And so the step by step, we're going to get them to educate and playing the seed understanding. So the take little time, but we're going to make the plan how to do that. That is most important too. Yes. So the stupa, the is of course is here is not only the Buddhist practitioners. So actually, it doesn't matter which you followers. Is this the stupa actually symbolizes peace? So all these beings, everyone want peace. Then this stupa is symbolized is compassion. Every beings need compassion. This stupa is symbolized wisdom. So that's the all the traditions need, right? Every beings need that. So that's why we can the stupa, the information symbolize meaning going to share for others step by step, take time, but one day we can successful. Yes.
But there's very interesting rumors going on what this place is.
Mm,
Very interesting.
yeah.
Like it's a funeral for narco. A what? Like a narco funeral place. Like,
Uh,
so just saying, like there is a communication gap maybe,
yes.
and it's interesting to see how can we
Mm,
maybe even little like informational,
mm,
like welcome to
Of course.
Buddhist antenna.
yes.
You don't have to say Buddhist.
So
of
yes,
course.
this place can be everything. So because this place can have individually what their need, followed by the main point is each person have different capacities, different levels, different dispositions. They need different ways to help them. They need different ways. Some need to meditate. So this place is a meditative place. Some need to do the chant prayers, confessions. They have to do many different things, you know. So this stupa is symbolized for everything.
I have a follow-up question to that one. So, in a traditional sense, a stupa is a symbol of what you just gathered, correct?
Yes.
Or a symbol. Is it also an altar? Is it also a place of worship?
Yes. Yes.
Are the bodies all three?
Yeah. So altar is like, you know, inside the temple, people can come meditate, and people can do prayers. So whatever they wanted to do something, wishing, fear the desires. So that's purpose for the temple. Mm.
Is there a difference between the word temple and word stupa? Are they the same or are they different?
In this case, it's the same. Usually, temple, stupa separate. You know, this one, we have both together. Upper part is stupa, but in the bottom part is a temple. So that's the idea. We build when we build the stupa, so we have both together. Yeah. Hmm. So the yes, some stupa has like that, but mostly don't have like that. The reason is the most stupa is in the monasteries. In the monastery, have temple is separate, so that's why you really don't necessarily have to temple inside the stupa. So we don't have a like specific monastery here, so that's why it's this is like together, you know, bird together, stupa and the temple together. So usually also of course like big stupa has, yeah. Only like this time more stupa people bird like this way. All the stupas they don't have inside the temple. Yeah, that's just a generally answer, you know. It's always have like the bird a little bit difference. Yeah.
I believe now the volume for people in Zoom is on, so we can hear questions from you.
I'll read a couple questions. There's some in the chat.
Yes.
The first one, just a minute. You already answered this, I think, how you chose a place to build the stupa. The next question is, please, can you talk about what parts of the stupa represent? I heard that the central channel is represented by a pillar in the middle going through the bottom to top. Thank you.
Yes. So you want to answer that? Actually, Soking, yes. This question is the central chain or something. The question or just his opinion or what is that actually?
They would like to know what the different parts of the stupa represent. So maybe just a brief description of all the different parts of it and what the meaning is behind them. Is that possible?
Yes. So the stupa has many layers, and the bottom, the lowest chamber is representative is subdued our own emotions, negativities. And then in the temple there we have a treasure object, create treasure object is practice in Zambala. So that's a symbolize is feared beings desires, means like people who need food, who need clothes, who need whatever there, you know, something they really need something, that's so fear for that desire. The upper part is more focused for enlightenment. And then all the top there, we have 13 layers. The symbolizes 13 different stage levels. It's all the like step by step is taking into the enlightenment. So how this stupa symbolize is reduce the all beings emotion and liberating lower realms and the higher realms. Higher realms taking to the liberating one by one. So through the stages. So that's the symbolize or the stupa. Yes. Okay, anyone here?
I'm sorry. Another question is a human body represented in a stupa?
Yes, so that is also depending individual. And our form body is Buddha's form body, so that is the stupa. And the stupa, like inside outer form is a form, is represented with Buddha's body. Inner or this special object is represented with Buddha's mind. The relic, the or is represented with Buddha's mind. And then the mantra is represented with Buddha's speech. So when we practice meditate, ourselves is visualize Buddha's form body, and we have a Buddha nature. The mind is Buddha's mind, and then you chant the mantra. So that is a Buddha's speech. So yes.
I'm not sure I understand this part of the question, but does it represent a macro, which would be very small, and micro level, which would be smaller still, I think? And how do these levels relate? But I don't understand that question.
You
And then the other question was, are they going to paint the outside or leave it white?
we live white.
Oh, okay, so my understanding, geez, my English isn't very good, actually. So macro is big, micro is small. So I don't know what that means.
Micro or macro, it permeates both.
Can you?
It goes to the most subtle levels to the most relative to ultimate.
Oh, okay, that makes it clear. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so then more questions or?
I have a question. I was wondering if you could speak about how the vision for building the stupa came about.
The vision of the stupa?
Just how the idea or the inspiration to build the stupa came about.
Okay, so that's Abilados. Yeah, yeah.
We had opportunity to meet Kempo, like we said 2 years ago, and through a common friend, which is Garchen's disciple, and his name is Ichiro. So through Ichiro, I heard about Garchen and about Kempo, and the idea of building a stupa came from the need of having a space, peace enough to tame the mind. And I believe that my hometown needed. And speaking to Kemp about it, he explained to me all the benefits of having a stupa. So we decided to build it as a, I believe, as one of the pillars for healing in this region, you know. So that's why we decided to do it. Basically for peace.
It's so beautiful. Thank you.
So
I'm curious.
When you like first wanted to build the stupa,
yeah.
So know what you're feeling.
Okay, this is undescribable because it has been a process of, first to find the place, second to to bring Dorje from, he lives in Sedona. So he had to move to Loma Bonita for several months. And he doesn't speak Spanish. We don't speak that well English. So the whole process has been very challenging. And also parts of the stupa were manufactured in India, and the communication with India was not as fluent as we might like. So we faced some challenges on the process. However, we started and we decided to make the consecration on March 21st. And since when decided to consecrate it on March 21st, lots of happening, good energy, lots of blessings, and everything was just perfect. Even though we are now facing COVID also in Mexico, and it's not easy to travel, you know. It's been very, I mean, I cannot explain all the enthusiasm that you can find with all my friends around here coming to support the consecration of the stupa from many places in the world, not only from Mexico. So it's indescribable, the feeling, you know. But the least I can say is very, very, very blessed feeling, a joyful feeling.
Thank
I
you.
have a couple more questions in the chat. How long did it take to build?
When we started that.
I think Dorje can answer that.
I'm thinking probably all together without COVID and everything, a year.
So this one takes 2 years, right? We took almost 2 years.
With,
Yeah.
with the
Yeah, with pandemic. So take 2 years, I think.
Okay,
We first, I come here 3 times. So this is the 3rd time. First, I come here is Abelardo show me the land, and he has also other land. So I pick up this one. This is the more convenient, and also can the stupa can benefit more people because through the road is the big kind of highway, right? This is a highway.
Yes.
So many people go through the roads. The also Abelardo wanted to build bigger stupa because people can see directly to the stupa from the road to when the travelers. So we wanted one focus for that too. We wanted to benefit them. We already benefited Mexico president. he threw this road a couple days ago. So like that is the main purpose. That's why the stupa facing to the south, and then this lane is like really perfect place to build the stupa. Like like going a little bit here is up, and highest level is a stupa. It's you can see all the different this area directions, so you can see the stupa.
Yeah, just for you to understand the importance of the road, this used to be the only road to communicate with Central America. Okay, so all the people coming from Guatemala, Honduras, all these people coming from the Central America cross this road and goes up north to the border. So it's very relevant, the road.
thank you. Next question. Does the central channel represent the visualization during POA practice?
Yes, you can. Central channel is symbolized many different ways. Like when you practice POA, central channel is representative the POA practice. Yes, and then also due to the different practice, the central channel is representative many different practice is symbolized, not only specific POA.
Okay, that's all we've got in the chat right now.
Okay.
I'm interested in knowing how you got the village people interested. how did you motivate them, or what was the main thing that got them interested in the whole process, the villagers?
Yes, Sablada.
Well, first we hired them to help us in the manufacturing of the satsas and manufacturing of the building and in the preparation of the land. And once they been in contact somehow with Dorje, and Dorje also spread the word, you know. So somehow they got interested, you know. And that was the first question that Lena, the first question we had this morning was that one exactly. How do we approach to the local people? And we still do not have a plan, to be honest. So we are accepting suggestions.
Yes, you can give suggestions, you know, like we can connect with other people. Actually, all the workers already connected to the stupa. So even who see the stupa, they already connected to the stupa. So each person has different capacities, levels to connect with the stupa. So actually most people, this village already heard about the stupa. So that is, the stupa is already hearing liberation. So the most of this, you know, the village people already seeing the stupa. This stupa is already seeing liberation. So the many people already work for the drawing things, you know, that is already touching liberation. Stupa is already touching liberation. So already connect with the village ready, but that's we don't recognize. Then, you know, also the feature, this village evolved to the stupa, like community, you know, wanted to join here. That is like also feature, you can give suggestions, we can make plan. And the Abiladom main purpose is he really wanted to benefit his hometown. Then of course like wanted to benefit the country and the whole world. So the specifically focus for the village. And that's why one reason, of course, when we pick up the land, this is the place is very close to the village. So that's the one reason.
I think having the chapel as part of the stupa is really a key thing for the village people. That just seems to fit so perfectly. But I have a question for Dorje. When you mentioned yesterday, when you cut the tree down, the first cut was on the east, which means the tree fell in the east. Now, when it's installed into the temple, the cut on the east faces south, right? Now, does that mean that the entrance to the stupa is through the eastern door?
Yes, in our minds, is in our intention. The
We can't hear you.
direction's east, like it's facing south.
So what is the question?
But the door is facing south.
Right.
Yeah, door is facing to the south.
Not east.
Well, I know.
So the stupa is facing to south. So that's we share the reason is because of the lane, you know, and specifically these travelers, passengers on the road, we wanted to benefit for them.
It's not, yes, I understand that, but does that mean that the door into the stupa is through the eastern door?
Intention.
Okay, give answer.
Physically, no, but intention, just like as our home, if we, let's say, only have one bedroom and we want to put a shrine room in, and we cannot face it towards actual east, wherever we place our shrine table and our statues or tonkas, it's always in our minds that it's towards the east.
All right,
sun.
great, thank you.
Yeah, when you practice, you know, like I stay like this way, where doesn't matter which direction I stay, I always like follow the ritual. My facing is always recognize east. Yeah.
It'd be great if we had an address so we could look at the stupa from Google Maps.
Of course, we can send it. We'll send it, yes.
Yeah, we can send it there too.
And it's hard to hear you if it's not Kempo. If you guys could get a little closer to the mic.
So you get already answer, right? We say yes, we're going to send it to you in the chat room.
You're
The-
coming through very clearly to me.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
Oh, then we're going to do the Buddha Shakyamuni prayer, I think. So caution, there's the time due to the time.
Yeah.
And then Garchen Rinpoche coming to the, ready to join the zone.
It's very nice to meet everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Those is-
everybody. You want the Buddha Shakyamuni?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Buddha Shakyamuni sadhana. 두 번째로 change. Today, so Buddha Shakyamuni, we're going to do the Tibetan only. You can chant the Spanish, you can chant the English. Just lead the Tibetan. Yes, yes. So you all can chant the Spanish at the same time. You can chant the English at the same time. Sanje Jidan Sojen Jonan Lai Sanjo Barde Dane Jabzen Je Dage Jen Soje Be Sonam Je Dola Pensere Sanje Bare Jo. Next page, page 3. Semje damje dewa dan deve jodan dembar George dongara dan dongara je jodan trawara George dongara mebe dewa dan mandrawa George nyeren chadan nyedan jarwe tanyo tseme bala ne bar George. Page 4. Ai Jimmy Tomba Nye Dai Den Jong Gen Na Wan Gan Mi Song Jo Jime Se Ran Den Nam Karan Chu Den Jam Se We Ren Che Sen Je Pe Ma Nye De Den Tomba So Me Sha Ja Sing Gen Ne Senje no jen sendan beze den chege song song dorje je zhong yo sa je sa no sa ja le jiang shen sa yong nyam ya long ze na ser je re dar ze je bang bar wa Ye she uzo traven kayen cha Ve se jen edin jero so Pa zo jam sen kor je yong kor shen Chen ba zam je zan ye nyam nye le Nam dro de wan cho ge pa zor wa Joggen de be danye jembo sa. Page 7. Ninje jembo so de nye me shen song ne mon lam jembo ngab jata be garar dar ngan zen de ser me do Tomba tu je jin la san ze lo da da de o song ge so long ju je gen san je be chen de me ne bo om e de na je song
de los seres nobles y comunes, acompañados por los tres tiempos.
Padai so se je we ge wa ne te son sa lai ji se ye rang o na jian jia jie ji jian ko le so jiu ye ye ne ji ba de so Chu ne nam ka ta ve yi shi gu te son pon jor me par yu me je te je nam gar jin je cer dong jiang te ge jiang ge jia de nam wa ran
Pido que
zu
gire la rueda del Dharma
ya
más profundo
ge
en las
ti
10
son
direcciones
sa
incesantemente sin
pe ge
interrupción.
so
Tu cuerpo de
je
sabiduría primordial y
ka
majestuoso
chan
permanece
ro
inmutable en los
wai
tres tiempos,
ken la
aunque en la
ben
percepción de
le
aquellos que deben
do
ser disciplinados
chi
aparenta
je
nacimiento y
jar
muerte.
bo
Aún
ta
así,
de
tu cuerpo de
ni jor
manifestación
je
continúa apareciendo
chi
siempre. Por
je
todas las virtudes
jar
acumuladas en los
ben
tres
go
tiempos,
de
pasado,
do
presente y futuro,
bar sho
para que el beneficio de
na
todos los
ja
seres que llenen el
ni
espacio
me
que yo
ro
siempre
wang
complazca al Rey del
go
Dharma
me
y
na
logre el estado del victorioso,
tu
el
je
Señor del
la
Dharma.
bar
A
zong
nosotros, los
we
indefensos
ka
seres vivos de esta
din
edad
le
impura, debido a tu bondad,
ye
nos
na
sostienes con
de
especial compasión. Por
ren
ello, en este
je
mundo y en este
nam
espacio,
som
las
je
tres joyas aparecen como
na
manifestación de
wa
receptividad
ye
iluminada.
ni ji je
Por
chen
tanto,
le
tú eres
ye
nuestro único refugio,
te je
incomparable y
jan
supremo.
jo
Por eso,
su
te suplico
mi
desde el
je
corazón, con completa confianza
ber
y fe, no
yi
olvides las grandes
shi
promesas.
de be ni ne son de na ne je tam cha chen bo ma ye war san jo par de tu ji jin zen
Que
zo
hiciste en tiempos pasados
Lama page 11
y sosténme con tu
Lama
compasión hasta que
Tomba
alcance la
Chom Den
iluminación.
De Yin Sheba Ra
Maestro
Chomba
Supremo,
Yang Da Bar Zobe Sanje Bar Jarwa Shaja Do Bala
Bhagavan,
Sanza
Vipralata,
Lo
Arahat, Buda
Shudo
completo y perfecto,
Jazan
conquistador
Je
glorioso,
Wo
Buda Shakyamuni, a ti
Lama
rindo homenaje,
Tomba
Dios rindo,
Chom
en ti me
Den
refugio.
De
Maestro
Yin
Supremo,
Sheba Ra
Bhagavan,
Chomba
Tathagata,
Yang Da
Arahat,
Bar
Buda completo y perfecto,
Zobe
conquistador
Sanje
glorioso, Buda
Parajarwa
Shakyamuni, a
Shaja
ti rindo homenaje, a ti
Dubala
ofrendo, en
Sanzalo
ti me refugio.
Chudo
Maestro
Jazan
Supremo, Bhagavan, Tathagata,
Jewo
Arahat,
Supreme Teacher Bangawan Tatangata Ahara Complete the
Arahat,
Perfect Buddha
Buda completo y
Glorious
perfecto.
Conqueror Shakyamuni Buddha. To you I pay homage, to you I make offerings, in you I take refuge. Tiyata Omene Mene
Maestro Supremo,
Mahamene
Bhagavan,
Yasoha,
Tathagata,
Tiyata
Arahat,
Omene
Buda
Mene
completo y
Mahamene
perfecto,
Yasoha.
conquistador
Tiyata
glorioso, Buda
Omene Mene
Shakyamuni,
Mahamene
Parinirvana.
Yasoha, Tiyata Omene Mene Mahamene Yasoha, Tiyata Omene Mene Mahamene Yasoha. Tiyata Omene Mene Mahamene Yasoha, Tiyata Omene Mene Mahamene Yasoha, Tiyata Omene Mene Mahamene Yasoha. Tiyata Omene Mene Mahamene Yasoha, Tiyata Omene Mene Mahamene Yasoha, Tiyata Omene Mene Mahamene Yasoha. Tiyata Omene Mene Mahamene Yasoha, Tiyata Omene Mene Mahamene Yasoha, Tiyata Omene Mene Mahamene Yasoha, Tiyata Omene Mene Zoadiada omene mene mahamene zoadiada omene mene mahamene zoadiada omene mene mahamene zoadiada omene mene mahamene tiada omene mene mahamene zoadiada omene mene mahamene zoadiada omene mene mahamene tiada omene mene mahamene zoadiada omene mene mahamene zoadiada omene mene mahamene Diyada omne mene mahamne yazoa diyada omne mene mahamne yazoa diyada omne mene mahamne yazoa diyada omne mahamne yazoa diyada omne mene mahamne yazoa diyada omne mene mahamne diyada omne mene mahamne yazoa diyada omne mene mahamne yazoa diyada omne mene mahamne Diyada omne mene ma mene yazoa diyada omne mene ma mene diyada omne mene ma mene yazoa diyada omne mene ma mene yazoa diyada omne mene ma mene yazoa diyada omne ma mene yazoa diyada omne mene ma mene yazoa diyada omne mene ma mene Diyada omne mene ma mene yazoa diyada omne mene ma mene yazoa diyada omne mene ma mene diyada omne mene ma mene yazoa diyada omne mene ma mene yazoa diyada omne mene ma mene diyada omne mene ma mene yazoa diyada omne mene ma mene yazoa diyada omne mene ma mene Diyada omne mene ma mene yazoa omne mene ma mene yazoa omne mene ma mene yazoa omne mene ma mene omne mene ma mene yazoa omne mene ma mene yazoa omne mene ma mene yazoa omne mene ma mene Omne mene ma mene yazoa omne mene ma mene yazoa omne mene ma mene yazoa Omne mene ma mene yazoa. So now we're going to chant this prayer and over there, page 13, and then we're going to meditate. Page 12 and 13. So we chant that section. Then we're going to meditate when Rinpoche joined the enter in the zone. Tombe gole yishi je uzra na zobe na wa jimbo dala zemje damje ega jinje zajjen ega jimbo lamje yonden zerjen de jid zerma dobe arju Okay. Yeah, good morning, everyone. So, I think soon Rinpoche is coming into zone. It's there already, see? They didn't open the camera. Yes. Do you see my bag? Okay.
Garchen, Tiempo le va a dar la bienvenida y vamos a cantar todos la sábana de H. Solo que no desde la página 1, sino desde la página 16. We'll be singing H from page 16. Antes de las condiciones de Garchen. Y cuando termine Garchen, que sepan que vamos a ir a la Stupa a bailar la danza de ayer. And when Garchen finishes around 11 o'clock, we will go to the Stupa to dance the Vajra dance that we danced yesterday.
The 지금 산에도 좀 레이송하더나. 그 말에 도저히 추딩는 가서 그 요더 내돈 줘야. 된 것처럼 뭐지 송대ው 값은 떨고라. 추고라. 뭐 그게 추이요. 있다들 그래. 가르쳐 있다들. 그 답백지도 지쇼도 설렌제도 돼. Hablado. 1 minute for me. 참을 때고 텍스트 되죠. 지니 말고. 마지와 치료와. 지 쇼도 갖고. 지니 때고 다다마데 양 떠요. 한번 추이나는 거 보세요. 추이게. 한번 추인데 원 저기데 추 그런데 답답해 되나. 추. 추딩 추시로. First, when the thing comes, introduce something for you. And then he want to see you, then you can go. One minute.
Va a entrar Garchen. O sea, lo que no sé es cuánta gente hay.
How many people here you think? Yeah. 50? 50. Yeah, and go to left. And they, I think which is there already. Go to short and bigger. Yeah, he's there. Video is here. I don't know. Right here. Rinpoche, take it away lah. Tashi Dele Rinpoche.
He doesn't hear.
Yeah. Everybody say Tashi Dele.
Tashi Dele.
Tashi Dele Rinpoche.
Tashi Dele
We cannot, Rinpoche cannot hear the, I think, your voice. Tashi Dele Rinpoche.
Tashi Dele.
Tashi Dele Ramnela Pewala. Kadi ya yang tene Abilado. Chega sei que doe.
Tashi Dele.
Jinda chude.
Tashi Dele. Thank you. Yeah. How are you?
네 가서 로본트는 님보 공유. 네 라만 지미 네 가서 대다 되나 뭐 망압죠 참 요를 뭐지. 대다 되는 좀 대화라 추딘 잘. 네 다자 나로라 되나 임마 망보제 페비오레. 네 대인데 다다 담보 제고대 아니 가서 스페인이시 그 깨가 돌아 아치치지 로마 그 상대 고소 그 땅의 연시 대진이 로모치 그 람네나야 된 제람 된요
라소.
상대 주바 피아레
상당 당야는 로모시. 합사.
로마 그상 데 배차들 로모친데는 아부 필요나다 데 라닉 도르제 남저마 케체 서비스 소돈 직tin 숨고 러나 시테는 고송야래라 도가 도쿄 되는 냠네 Okay, so now ready. Page 17 in this book. 17.
Página 17.
17. The English we're going to directly to Vajra Yogini. Arise Vajra Yogini up the crown over my head. So we're going to starting there, small offering.
Vamos a empezar con lo que dice instantáneamente mi naturaleza emerge como Vajra Yogini. Ahí empezamos.
Vajra yogini, sobre esta mi corona. Con Ratna Shri Nirmana Kaya, Rama habita el corazón, emanan Ramyamika, purifican Samaya, Samarijo emanan, transforma toda ofrenda a su esencia natural, ofrenda todo Buda, llena los 3000 mundos. Om Ahum.
Om Ahong, Om Ahong, Nama Sarva Dadanga De Jombu Jombu Gebe, Sarva De Ganga De Emengangana Gamzo, Nama Sarva Dadanga De Ba Yombu Jombu Gebe, Sarva De Ganga De Savarena, Emengangana Gamzo, Nama Sarva Dadanga De Yombu Jombu Gebe, Sarva De Ganga De Savarena, Emengangana Gamzo, Om Akar Om Kan Sarva Dharmana Adindi Benadude Om Ahong Bezo Om Akar Om Kan Sarva Dharmana Adindi Benadude Om Bezo Akar Om Kan Sarva Adindi Benadude Om Ahong Bezo
Hri, realiza la esencia primordial, resplandece tu mandala, protectores luego lleguen ya, tranquilice toda actividad, Vajranesis compromiso, manifieste el Dharma Dhamma, donde la conciencia primordial vengan a este sagrado lugar, infinito brillo turquesa de los tesoros del disco azul, gran hermana Achinana Sai, toma todos los actos, emanan del espacio esencial, diosas de la sabiduría, protege el saber de los Budas, cortejo de las 4 fuerzas, música de Narquinis cantan, anfitrionas tejen mudras, danzan nubes de ofrendas de honor, luego desciendan a este
Alalaho ehaya hevanga agaya jasamaya
Hri, oh diosa, junto a tu cortejo, siéntate en tu dormitorio. Aquí traigo mi ofrenda de humo, postro mi cuerpo. Toma cuerpo da kini, rompe el ciclo existencial.
Gewan de yen de la de chi zi zhu po ging mi jen jan nan da ge sa do korwe jam so gen bar yo. Laso Rinpoche. Teni ramne song chote Rinpoche ke.
Garaya, Sangaraya, Zambiambe, Sapodayam Zambenza, Katambe Zambenza, Matambe Zambenza, Matambe Zambe, Ian Sundaya Zoan, Hebelan, Belandra, Kula Kolan, but then Zaya so, Kalakalaya so. Kata kata mata mata rata motana kamotana ya so sarana sara hara hara sara sara maraya bezan belara ya so wa zenda zenda bela bela mangala kala ya so bela bela do bezan bezan kala ya so kala kala ya so kasa ya bezan kala ya so hara hara bezan ya so hara bezan begana ya so Benza, Kidasa, Benza, 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 Arada, Benza, Amonga Benza, Aya Benza, Yigan Benza, Daya, Dara, Sam, Mada, Zikabot, Maya, Pet, Namasabita, Bidana, Mama, Mama, Maya, No. Page number 374. Sunja Denchi Tunjiri Dada. Tuso Ramne Giti. Devarake Kosam Toja, Nirabda, Nepala, Varda, Jojan, Seve, Gire, Tamja, Forme, Lamja, Chamber, Lamze, Inlo, Lamze, and then a Manova, Genda, Dang, Goddamn, and Dona, Joy, Kid, Dorje, Mirabda, Barre, Sikan, Labora, Jerba. Dona Sabana, that's honey, not so. That's a teacher garment on road. And some good to corny. Gamba, Jenda, Yamba, Shaja, Saja, Sarijan, Sarava, Benjamba, Gawa, Yewanda, Bala, Ucha, Lavre, Tibade, then the Jagba, Rajomba, Yandaba, Zoba, Rikba, Dan Yabza, Demba, Deva, Jagba, Jenda, Jemba, Jevanda, Kalo, Jerva, Lana, Meba, Lana, Menam, Je, Tumba, Dela, Yosi, Tamje, Dan, Dimbe, Jada, Damba, Zamjana, Lana, Jena, Dreza, Laya, Jana, Damba, Devya, Dreza, Oya, Sawa, Dadaga, Abe, Genga, Zamaya, Jardan, Jerve, Seja, Kona, Kekara, Mendan, Demba, Kazava, Beja, Mala, Rapsara, Nibe, Tonam, Tajuraja, Ona, Sawa, Dadanga, Kaya, Beshodana, Zova, Jarve, Kola, Dama, Mangaya, Tazo, Dama, Java, Java, Kola, Tree, Chanda, Save, Save, Shamwata, Jaja, Ona, Zawata, Gada, Abe, Kingada, Samaya, Jeraya, Java, Java, Seja, Ganala, Shegamenda, Dimbaga, Zeva, Meja, Mama, Nebe, Tona, Mala, Daja, Ona, Sawa, Dadanga, Gaya, Meshodana, Nabza Jenda Dejan Dambamba, Kuzan Zavlan Jambana Zoda, Jibjo Janda Deza Denyamba, Noa Beza Vedayazo. Nana Tumcho Bardande, Soji Chana Lana Me, Sena Yeke Chayanda, Jendo Murda Zada, Zoma Sawa Dada, Kaya Beshodana Yazoa, Bamba Zambo Chevenjo, Dana Jimberan Kincha, Sana Trama Senzeja, Tulenzela Sanzano, Tamada. Drogong Sana Dajer Jem Dajer Jem Sawa I am the Yodanaya Zova Zambo Jeven Dana Certain Lakin Du Chama Senze Chilan Zela Certain Jaya Dragon Dajer Yam Dajer Om Sawa Beshodana Yazova Zambo Jevan Dana Zuberan Contra Dama Senzeja Tulan Tamada Zuba Jaya Tisavan Dokon Sheda Dajer Yamjamba Dajer Oma Sava Tatanga Gaya Begodana Yazova Zambo Jevan Dana Sunduran Kinjo Lelo Tama Senzeja Tulan Zela Zanzalo Tamada Sende Chaya Tisavan Dokon Ajara Dajer Yamjamba Dajer Oma Gaya Begodana Yazova Zambo Jevanjo, Dana something ranking, nothing Chama Senzeja, Tulan Zalo, Tamada, something Jaya Tisavan, Dokon Trado, Dajer, Yamjumatan, Dajer, Umesawa, Dadangata, Kaya Begoda, Zambo Jevanjo, Dana Shira Rankinja, Damo Trema Daza, Tulan Zela Zanzalo, Damo Treza Daza, Shira Chaya Drizavan, Drogon, Damo Dajer, Dajer, Umezawa, Dada, Gada, Gaya, Beyoda, Samaya, Pasin, Roger, the Chaya Drizavan, Drogon, Malu, Tanja, Yamdema, Dajer, Umezawa, Dada, Yodana Yazova Lodanga Senji Pachalunga Tambenga Sanga Tamsen Yamjaba Sansen Papa Yambatan Yamjaba Mege Jodang Saminga Loga Lama Jubaya Lamaya Kando Cheja Somada Yala Yada Gabezo Nyamda Mada Pojere Nimota Mada Jere Pojata Mada Jere Sanjata Mada Jere Sutra Dongle Gajere Nante Chongle Majere Sanata Mada Jere Chegon Kinda Demigon Nyamda Juna Da Jere Ome Savada Dai Oyamba Yodana No, page number 396. Om Tojan Goje Dembe Sela Je Sanga Rema Zonga Dodo Debar Mawana Dinze Do Wanda Da Ge Songza Ye Da La Seja Neba Maze Je Benza Takcha Verda Dron Josan Zasan Danjin Chezondan la la jebdan da yerjeda sadorada jelong. Nebaya tamje gongla durza trezoraba gede temba soja. Argen jen jeden dargen benzon trozo me lame yerda banjur. Lomjo je londe zase seba injegle jo durza da jojo. I'll go to Ramni. Now you get flower watching. Om Soba Vajra Sarva Dharma Soba Vajra. Dong Bang and Rinpoche, Tradan Pede de la Kedina, Humle, Dorje, Jang Humbo, Dorje, Dan Kevad, Sungdina, Ale, Opame, Marbo, Pema, Dan Kevad, Tukdina, Drumle, Naman, Garbo, Korla, Dan Kevad, Tamje, Jan, Rumboje, Jendang, Tarje, Naza, Chap Dorje, Tedonge, Yoba, Jevo, Om Gabo, Rimba, Am, Toga, Mamba, Toga, Homla, Azarande, Gomba, Danda, Yeva, Jenda, Zenda, Samanda, Da, Wonga, Ba, Nizame, Ba, Jo, Layan, Toga, Homla, Mangela renga korda jeba benza zamanza da namla ngumbar wang korda zor ye zorbada wang benza baba abe genza hon ye wang korbe mejebe vajem arjo ome sawa dada gada sabara Gamba de da Zova Omeza Sabara Vara Bajamba de da Zova Omeza Dada Gada Sabara Gamba de da Zova Omeza Dada Gada Sabara Gamba de da Zova Omeza Dada Gada Sabara Vara Aluke Bade da Zova Sawa Dada Gada Ginde Bade da Zova Sawa Dada Sapare Dorje Chanje Abana Nalang Hoi Charla De Kunje Yege Jende Jondara Yar Kebe Bagbe Jine Yejebe Namkan Tado Jurbe Semjena Sanje Yeke Jina Dobar Yo On Zakya Zakya Samenda Zakya Bekodai Sova On Zakya Zakya Samenda Zakya Bekodana Sova Om Zakya Zakya Samenda Zakya Bekodana Sova Om Tengen Zinje Jibana Uda Shawa Gosong Tokdin Sosu Nambar Jo Hong She Bukam Benzer Bawa De Teta Bukam Sowa Om Sarva Beya Sowa Om Samsa Teta Benzaya Sowa Ome Dharma Heda Trabhava Hedan Tege Tatanga Yo Vade Tege Daya Naranda Om Bodama Karmanaya Sowa Jana Yoga Sanje Dan Sancho Samba Sanje Dala Gunda Kada Nyambe Semje Damje Mendebe Nyangele Debe Salama Yaga Barda Jarawan Nyamele Mendawa Tembare Yosa Zoa Sedra Daya Tindela Tindambe Ishe Batam Tindela Jungwai Jaya Nuba Majika Bat Tembare Yomne Naso Senje Tamje Chodan Tumunga Mada Malaba Sada Mezenda Deda Mezaya Zova Soy Janai Yuga Sanje Dan Sanjo Sambat Dala Gungsa Za Jese Namgan Tada Nyambe Senje Namje Nebe Nyangele Barda Jarawana Jambare Yuza Sebra Daya Tindala Tintambe Yiki Panam Tindala Jungwai Jaya Ube Mageka Timbare Yone Dago Zemje Damje Lan Jodan Tumonga Mada Aleba Tabda Zo Ome Sunda Deda Mezaya Zoa Joy Janai Yo Sanje Dan Sanjo Samba Tamje Dala Gongza Zo Jese Namga Dada Nyambe Sanje Damje Menebe Nyangelende Sala Maryaga Barda Jawanan Timbara Yosa Zo Sebda Doya Tindala Chintangbe Yeshe Banam Tindala Jungwai Suba Mayega Barda Tambare Yune Da So Semje Tamje Lan Chodan Tumunga Mada Sarda Zo Ome Sunda Deda Mezaya Zo Ome Sava Tatanga Sabare Vara Argan Bade Zazova Ome Sava Tatanga Sabare Vara Pajan Bade Zazova Ome Sava Tatanga Da Sabare Vara Pibe Bade Zazova Ome Sava Tatanga Da Sabare Vara Dibe Bade Zazova Tatanga Da Sabare Vara Aloga Bade Zazova Ome Sava Tatanga Da Sabare Vara Gide Bade Zazova Ome Sava Jarwa Tanje Sanje Maja Sangwa Dorje Janje Abame Nanaingol Charla Dubar Uba Danje Lai Kenda Gwenje Danje Durbaya Namgwenje Joda Debe Durbaya Jadam Balame Chegebe Sanje Sansa Dende Dele Yo Semjin Ganda Doda Manova Deda Danje Dende Dele Yo Java Jadalani Chula Sansa Dende Dele Yo Semjin Ganda Doda Mandova Deda Danje Dende Dele Yo Somjo Damba Lame Chebe Gendung Sansara Dende Dele Yo Semjin Ganda Doda Mandova Deda Danje Dende Dele Yo Menje Lumbo Gaya Dake Yo Yena Doje Songe Dake Yo Tada Tenme Toge Dake Yo Jave Kosong Doje Dake Yo Vedan Soge Wage Yevgen Nova Wasange Senjin Reva Wanzebe Samban Debe Dake Yo Gere Onga Jeje Kyawadan Nandun Bajendan Dawadan Tumada Gambasa Sojabe Dake Denjan Dele Yo Nendaranya Moda Ngasih tung saso. Ibu sing song.
Tambo na mara ramne thar songola.
Ramne drop song.
다 거저대 초대되는 초바체 잡로체 야게 연지 까마카체 되니 대지도 뭐 제가 되나
ok
되니 담보 다 잡로 통통제 거저 초바페야 잡로 그 초바로 뭐 제라 페야 제요 까마카체 대지를 되니 뭐 제가 제 낭로와 Okay.
Nos preparamos para bailar.
Bring this to the view.
Tambo solution them no key the only in chop. Arakulation or Gavanian, he ended a chunk of young star. Alone and the program. Woman, Lola, Maki Sachin Hai in order, Gala when you thought a chief. Valayo, a person so many. He had taken higher to have you for the vibration of the potion. Oh, yeah. We pass the family to the minimum for and give it. Yet the touch of your butcher. Can't be to another character, another boy. Children, Massage, Teddy Bavaji, Chanel, 这是一座这为那这不人的家里多那拉什么手，年的放下周拉什么手，一个推荐跟我拉什么手。什么路打的多拉什么手，春里什么情啊不拉什么手，啊我呀啊我呀，另个也送秋淡不了那马也直接跟我是诺了，哎也不丢弃咱们这马就是有那大大的手，给你加起什么个更多的句。啊吼呀，啊吼呀！当部所有身边人，目击动力人手，然后来身上加个人，年纪的长这样大的，了那个是往不下，我们老了啊吼呀，啊吼呀！我的发现他一路的把那个米光大街的，那个一桌不是他听说没你。一个整个他也做了这个球，我的发育什么真的不少，啊吼呀，啊吼呀，为他这些爸妈，这个人你们就说完的说，也得了，他这家不这么你。刚比着他了都开了头，那个多样那种呢。现在你那干的他去，这里咱们去不能去，什么路路面子上前，这几多这为那才不，准备家里多那拉什么手，年底好像周拉什么手，一个推荐跟我拉什么手。什么路打的多拉什么手，春里什么情啊不拉什么手，啊我呀啊我呀，另个也送秋淡不了那马也直接跟我是诺了，他也不丢弃咱们这马就是有那大大的手，给你加起什么个更多的句。啊吼呀，啊吼呀！这个罗木，当部所有身边人，目击动力人球，然后来身上干了年，年纪的长这样大的，了那个是让我想，我们老了啊吼呀，啊吼呀！我的发现他一路的，咱那为你光大街的。那个一桌是生他听说没你，一个整个他也做了这个球，我的发育什么真的不少，啊吼呀，啊吼呀，为怕这些爸妈，这个人你们就说完的说，也得了，他这家不这么你。刚比着他了都开了头，那个多样那种呢，现在你那三的他去，这里咱们也不能去，什么路路的面子上前，这几不能这为那这不，准备家里多能拉什么手，年底放下周拉什么手，一个推荐跟我拉什么手。什么路打的多拉什么手，春里什么情啊不拉什么手，啊我呀啊我呀，另个也送秋淡不了那马也直接跟我是诺了，他也不丢弃咱们这马就是有那大大的手，给你加起什么个更多的句。啊吼呀，啊吼呀！所有身边人，目击动力人球，然后来身上干了年，年纪的目击动力人球，然后来身上干了年，年纪的长这样大的，了那个是让我想，我们老了啊吼呀，啊吼呀！我的发现他一路的咱那为你光大街的，那个一桌是生他听说没你，一个整个他也做了这个球，我的发育什么真的不少， 为怕出去把么这个你那么就说完的错，也得啦，他这家不这么你，刚比着他了都这个车，那个多样那个呢。现在你那啥的哈基，这里把那基不么基，现在了这面子上行。这里不能这为那这不，这里家里不能拉什么球，年底好像都不拉什么球，地不地也跟我拉什么球，现在了大家都拉什么球，城里现在现在不拉什么球，啊我呀我呀。因个也生球半不了，那马也直接跟我去弄了。哎呀，不丢弃咱们这马就是有那个铁手，偏偏扎起什么个不的去，啊吼呀，当不对身边。
Rinpoche ke kalop Naro Shia Yang.
Emaho, Rinpoche, Sojibe, Rinpoche, Yambo, La Soba, Gidibide, Soba Tanchi, Chatalo, no Sangaya, the Soba Tanchi, Gidibide, the ritual Malagade, Talo Gajade, Gidibide, Niso. Gently, getting chopped out of Gasa, the injective comment of one Zabe, Liggy, Chok Tanki, the Chok Shumi, so some of the Yuba, get our corner to the Sunam was a Jashabo Charlie or oh, get you with the Chok Kayama. This is what I listen much of, so that is a charity, that is Dagi, the Bachicha boy, Jackie Kana with Chok Tanki, get you very. 랑게티도 청소도 요지 이담을 대담을 소리 잡고 지금 청소로지.
So today, I would like to say to all the people assembled here, mainly Kien Rinpoche and also Dupanchen and Ningbo and so forth, the entire assembly of the Sangha, everyone who has joined the practice today and the consecration today. I prostrate, I pay homage to all of you. Namo Sangaya. And so there's basically two kinds of Sangha assemblies here assembled, and that is the ordained robed Sangha, and then there's the lay Sangha. And in generally, actually, we pay homage to Sangha. We should actually see that all the religious practitioners in the world of any religion are really Sangha. And paying homage to them all in this vast way is a great merit for oneself. And so it is good to have really no bias at all toward any religion, because once there is a bias, then we are clinging to a duality of self and other, and that leads to great obstacles. So therefore, I think that all religious practitioners in the world are Sangha. This is how I see, this is how I pay homage to them all. And so also you should pay homage to all others as well in this really vast way.
Nepala tela tini tini terhenga zo tini chudi ke dimda chimbo de zo tini chudi de zo tini range rewa chechong tini chudi me to chunjing chuba soyin tini chudi de jisi yang kon tini ngus tini de rewa jani tini maangwa lo tini chudi de tini de pa ta ko ba cha ta so wa maram je jo nimbayo ba tamche ta je ba la tini jisi yang tini chak sa lo ji.
And then the second homage is extended today mainly also to the great benefactor, the sponsor of the stupa, and then also everyone who has contributed to the construction of the stupa and anyone who has made a connection to it. And even if one has just offered a single a flower petal, then also that is a great merit. And even those who just rejoice in the construction of the stupa, who have made basically any kind of connection. And then also in future times, I rejoice in all those who will develop the inspiration and faith and devotion when they see that stupa and they connect to that stupa, and who will pay homage and prostrate and who will make prayers and aspirations in the presence of the stupa in future times. So rejoicing in that, and all those who rejoice in that, I pay homage to all of them.
이 초디데 아작도 다 쳔보레 이 초디데 치와라 랍삼네 총안 내도 싸고 전제라들이 로바트가 상제게 초디 정용나 이때 비무 삼좀 잡바레 그 가르제는 문제 됐었더니 사기 좀 뒤데 람가를 펴버쳤더니 람가를 보고 이렇게 상제가 넘지나 심마 좋아가 또 잡아 디소남들 디네지 그 마음으로 다 자가다 개가 요리 저 아쇼가지 데이터지 놀티소는 거래리 디부스티기 사지 세마 초박강 사지 용지도 또요래 대소는 데이터들이 다다 데이터로 대소는 그 자체 뭐래 대소는 데이터들이 좀 좀다다들이 공가 동바 데이터가 이제 뭐 드림도 보면 tellatokotela 사원을 견딘다. 근데 제일 저 조박을 보는 샤트했더니 야, 이 좋은 애들이 다들 주대들라 그 뒤치는 타고平庸지 지들이 삼지 붙잡아리 들이 타당에서 되는 라미치 바대양들이 타타 무고 타나 다지 있으나 오사지 타르 물이 요리시 다시 타르 보사지 신기만 타르 물이 삼고 요리 제타지가 땅상나 디네들이 가다다 더블이 배양아들이 남바사게가 다다다 작합소소들이 디레 용탑바 남바사게베 용탑바 가는데 용탑들을 가르쳐 보면 쉽게 당기를 피바다 데벨에 가리는 게 너무 남바소소같이 이제 쪽들을 쉽게 당기를 쪽들을 뺐다가 그리고 진짜 사기에 통투고 요만에 되게 특히 말을 받게 되네. 그 사기에 탐지들이 통했지. 두 섬지 사기에 탐지들이 주디 내려다 요들라 tem명고요래. 쉽게 탐지 늘 사기 요들 무슨 요래. 사기 두 섬지 사기 냠지 요래. 데이터가 되는데 주디들 마음과 데이터를 그거를 주디 끼고는 좀 받텔라. 되게 책도 쓰기와 끼와를 책 탐지해도 될 수는 없다고지. 자치 보여도 주디지 배울 때다가 너희 용서를 마고요래. 그래서 좀 기본 뭐지 그들이 서로 다 쫄고래마도 리스트도 저 하고 말에 또 대표용을 해서 봐. 대회들이 주디지 까봐 나도 받았더니 라미에치가 오 다람리에치에서 들은 것들이 사제 폐교래 라미에 맞으려 말이지 때로 사비가 말에 septiito들이 올라올 처분 나무를 라미에치도 사제 폐도 라면이 Something just I get up in Namke, I tell you, you Chuka now got our the Robert told our Chuka Zabu Lenny, Nabasaki, the woman, Jura Samba and DJ, the simply touching people that they are doing, Tata to road, touching the people that they are doing, Dollar Sandia to Body, Shop, simply doing it all day. There is a music that is on Chupana, the Pindor is about very single what you know, simply to travel, part of single what you know, simply to travel Google, the Gwinja, Chantok, Yarja Chatok, the Kala Kamba do Kanga, but said the Sajit about it, one man, Charlotte, don't you? The data simply use it to these was study, looking at the study in deep water, which would be that you don't it.
So then the third point that I want to mention is that now what is the reason that that such a stupa is so beneficial and we pay homage. The construction of the stupa, the presence of a stupa is extremely meaningful, extremely significant. And it doesn't matter how large a stupa is, it could be like a mountain large, or it could be just as small as like a barley seed. Once a stupa is present in a country, in a certain place, you have a representation of the Buddha, and the benefit of its presence really are inconceivable. For example, there's one story about the time when the Buddha was alive. And so once the Buddha was walking along a road, and there were two little children, two boys playing on the road. And when the Buddha walked by, then one of those boys offered some of the sand. So they were playing with the sand. And one of those boys then offered the sand into the Buddha's begging bowl. And in the future, then this boy was reborn then as the great famous king Ashoka. And the merit of such rebirth and of such this great Dharma king was that this boy had accumulated the merit from faithfully offering sand, actually to stand into the begging bowl of the Buddha. And that already was such a great merit. And the continuum of merit that goes on in a really vast way. And so that is why we pay homage to those who have constructed this stupa, who have contributed. So mainly there was the great donor, the benefactor, and then also the Sangha assembly, such as Kempo and also Drupal, and like anyone who contributed and helped and so on, and who has even developed an aspiration toward or inspiration toward the stupa and so on. Just the benefits of all that really are actually inconceivable. And so today we held this Rabne, this consecration ceremony for the stupa. And so now ordinary people, how it may seem to you is because we see, ordinary people see a dualistic reality of self and other. So to them, it appears as though the Buddha is really far away and far away from all of us sentient beings. And so having a stupa here is really it really represents that actually the Buddhas and sentient beings are not far away. This is just how it appears from a dualistic perspective. But so in order for sentient beings to understand that, since we cannot directly see the Buddha with our eyes due to being obscured by ignorance, so therefore we kind of construct the kind of a representation of the Buddha, so that sentient beings have this to recollect that, to remember that actually the Buddhas of the three times are ever present. And so the Buddha activity is really anything that brings about the benefit and the happiness of sentient beings. And so therefore the benefactors and so on, and all the Sangha who had constructed that really are actually like emanations of these Buddha activities. And the stupa then serves as a representation of the Buddha's mind. So that we need something kind of like a reference point to remind ourselves of that, because otherwise we can't really see that the Buddhas of the 3 times are actually always present. And so to have constructed such a physical representation of the Buddha's mind is also very significant, not just for now in this life, but also in the future, in all future lives, and from lifetime to lifetime. It is an immeasurable support for our merit. And so that is the reason why I also pay homage to the benefactor, and also again Rinpoche and so forth, and anyone who has contributed to that, because the benefits of the stupa are really so great, because until the end of this aeon, actually, the stupa will bring great benefit to sentient beings. And so that is why, because the benefit is so vast and lasting, that it's very significant that today we had this, Rabne consecration ceremony. And so during this consecration ceremony, from a dualistic perspective, now it may seem that, so now during the consecration, all the Buddhas really came, and kind of under the assumption that before the consecration, the Buddha wasn't there, and now we are consecrating, and then the Buddha comes here. And so this is how we see it from a dualistic perspective, but actually what the stupa really represents is the enlightened mind, and that is the Dharmakaya, and the Dharmakaya is all pervasive and actually ever present, always present, and not just now when we kind of invite or perform a consecration. And then the Sambhogakaya, so the Dharmakaya is like this space, like all pervasive nature, pervading the elements, the 5 elements. And then the Sambhogakaya appears like a rainbow in the sky. And then the Nirmanakaya appears in many different ways in the world. And in whichever way, whoever benefits sentient beings can really said to be a Nirmanakaya, regardless of whether they are a Buddhist or not Buddhists. But anyone who possesses in their mind stream love and compassion, and who engages in activities that benefit sentient beings, it's really a Nirmanakaya. For example, even animals who benefit others also can said to be Nirmanakayas. So in brief, what we call a Buddha is basically this enlightened mind of great wisdom that seeks to liberate sentient beings from suffering, and that cares for sentient beings with great compassion. For example, even a tree, for example, can said to be a Buddha emanation, because it seems to us that that's just a tree, but really the tree also becomes a shelter for millions of little animals, little life forms. In wintertime, it provides protection from the cold, and in summertime, protection from the heat. So it provides a dwelling place, a shelter, and also is a source of sustenance and food for all these beings. So really the Buddha's activities pervade wherever there are the 5 elements, pervade the 5 elements, and in any way possible, engage in the benefit of sentient beings. And so a stupa is a manifest kind of representation of these activities, of the Buddha's qualities, of the Buddha's enlightened activities. And so that's the reason why it is so precious.
rumba tega di simpi zuki zumi kamsun simpi tamke tega sanjega tongche ke yore simpi de kani chuti ge mena de chuti je lora de chuti de towa da chuti jingtong de mengji la da ya tuba towa tuba jimba riba de chuti de kwa ji ba la so kwa so je de taba samu je lo yore ben mo je de chuti zumi 최랑 샤디 제르디 뭐 스피소자 철코를 차서데 뭐 주디 주민을 꼬라지 받아서 잡아서 먹는 사지 좀 이제 랍송 까봐도 돼봐 또 나가 요래 또 장원은 요래 제가 비용섭이 잡아야 되는 뒤로 락버들이 무슨 다 세기다지 이 집에 있는 강에 되는 무슨 사지가 배동적 요래 사지가 배동 대세 배동 라요 말이 배나 강에들이 장부 최상 보제들이 yapti charom charom da modeli javar bu ka sabla paile pet dili ter paile javo ko dili charom la dili sage pedong mise dili kongo pa de jang bu bu ji sala de jang bu bu ji ma na de nang li dili sage pedong no ji ka de 같이 melap 같이 제라 되는 패로 그요 야야 패요 말이 대회들이 사기 배동 배 막의 배송이 라이게 디카자티 자치고 탐지를 풀어라이 이 사기 배동 무시요 배동 로지를 때다더니 정부 최상을 보지 상에서 다무 바삐자를 사는 용들이 정부를 보지 약치에서 이 정부를 항상 사게 나오면 배동이 조디잖아요 얘네들 롱바티는데 조디들이 아주 비잡아들이 데이터 통주지 통화 주바들이 주디 정성들 지스랑 거제랑 지스랑데 통고요 타바서 못잡고요 이 무엇들이 조디를 따서 꼬아지나 그러라는 게 그거 동가에 옛날에 조디들 꼬아 만도 제일 사지 탐지 통들어요 사지 집아까지 생기는 동물을 해야 돼 생기 탐지 아마다 그래 능이 가려 대조가 타버리 대야라면 왜 박자왕 것들이 플레이들이 요 다른 잠들 요에 가시를 유는 못 변 나사나 저기도 꼬아지나 유는 못 꼬아서 뭐 빼잖아 내 나타나 체디 전도 저기가들 뭐 가서는 주디들은 죽고 요래 빼대다가 그로 지tab잖아 그래라게 도박가래는 주디 뭐나 작사다고 차리 요에 지금 고아그러나 지나 대화들 잘 주디 가래라 물론 죽게도 가래 다 사지 탐색 신기 도도야 돼 사지 탐색 두개 껴대지 버들이 되게다 용탑 강다 그래 나와 사지 용탑다 그래 어디에 성들이 되라고 그 밖에 사지 무슨 요사는 뭐라더니 쳇도 찌기가 돈을 그랬어요 좀다 그래 나와요 실기 탐색 피고서 실기 탐색 돈 주고서만 제가랑 팽이 거래 이 마음 가지고 나 쪽을 들이 마음 잡고 요래 연나한테 내가 팽이 요래 저 강에 능이 자와 나지 사기가 들이 나도 처음에 없어도 나지 매박도 터거래 들들이 진피로 먹었다고 때 먹었다 쳐보 들이 손을 딱 쳐보는 거요 나도 지금 먹었다가 뒤쪽에 양손을 타고 요래 빼는 메도 드나이나 메도 진짜 쳐들로라 들랑 거 메도 저기 쳐들이라서 까불고 요래 들이 다 차박에 바보다 서면 들이는 바들이 차박 바보는 들이 차박 차차들이 남을 나와나 뭐람 가르쳤다라 말도 들이 대다가 들이 사람을 자치 버리대요 소야 초이스는 대바 자치 거래 망화 뭐라도 야 자치 거래 내가 들이라도 나지 저담 총나들이 이제 밑에서 없지 말이야 그때 통주지 했다도 되려 조디도 삼는 거 잡아야 들이 다들 짐다 들이 돈바 들이 제도 처음에 참아 그거 제니 마음과라 들이 들어가는 것들 사다 주고 그거 제니 탐지들이 있어야 뭐들이 뭐라는데 다시 들리시고 예
In the previous section, because my pen was getting empty, I just remembered one thing. Rinpoche also said before that it's like one becomes like basically those who the donors and so on who kind of constructed the stupa become almost like an ambassador of a country representing the enlightened activities of the Buddha. So it's like a kind of an embassy, then the stupa in this area. With that, and so then which is said that so the sorry, so mainly the next point that I want to share about the significance of the stupa is that it brings immeasurable benefit to all beings whether with a body or without a body throughout the three realms of samsara. Also, depending on their own merit, but it becomes really a source of accumulating great merit on many levels. And so now the stupa has been constructed, and all the like outer, inner, and secret favorable conditions have come together, have been assembled at this place. And the donor also has made it possible that the stupa was constructed. And all of that really is a Buddha activity bringing about the benefit of all sentient beings in samsara. And a stupa is kind of a support for us, for sentient beings, to remember the Buddha. So it is that the stupa is a support for recollection, hearing, so through recollecting, through hearing about it, and through thinking about it, and through coming directly into contact with it. So in these four different ways, it brings great benefit to beings. And in whichever way one connects to the stupa, either through recollecting, through hearing, and so on, in whichever way one connects, for example, direct connection would be to circumambulate the stupa, to directly see it. The seed of liberation is planted in the mind stream of all those who connect to a stupa. And so also there was a story in the past about, for example, even if it is unintentional, in the past there was a story about a stupa that was reflected in a pond. And so the reflection in the pond was obviously not the real stupa, but just the reflection. And there was a bug, insect that actually had died already in that pond. And just basically that insect was floating around in the pond, but in such a way that it exactly circumambulated the reflection of the stupa in the water. And just through the merit of that, actually, even that was a merit for that died, diseased animal. And that already planted the seed of liberation within that animal. And so finally then led to liberation. So there's the stories that are told in the sutras, such as the Sutra of the Foolish and the Wise, and so on. And so these stories are told for the sake of sentient beings, so that we develop trust in the Buddha's blessings. And also I've offered some relics of the Buddha himself, which are also a support of developing trust. And people know that there is this relic of the Buddha in there, then like a special trust and inspiration arises in people. And these particular relics actually are quite unique. They're not kind of a normal kind of relic, but the origin of this relic is that I received it from His Holiness Chetsang Rinpoche, and he himself had received it from his father. And so anyways, his father was a representative of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And so at one point, so His Holiness Chetsang Rinpoche's father came to Nepal, and the king gave him a very special relic of the Buddha. So then Chetsang Rinpoche's father had this relic, and he brought it back to Tibet, and he gave it to Chetsang Rinpoche. And so ever since, His Holiness Chetsang Rinpoche had this Buddha relic, and then I received that from His Holiness Chetsang Rinpoche. So this is a really very special Buddha relic. And the one special quality about it is that it increases. So it multiplies, but only if it is passed on. So only if you keep giving it and keep giving it to others, then it increases. If you just let it sit somewhere and you don't give it to anyone, it will not increase. And so it increased many times, and I've offered it to part of it to many precious projects, just like this Stupa project. And so it has a very special history. So it came from His Holiness Chetsang Rinpoche, who received it from his father, who received it from the king of Nepal. So that is the Buddha relic that you have received for the stupa. And also it will cause inspiration in the minds of others. And so again, the stupa becomes a support for others to recollect. So when we see a stupa, we remember the Buddha, or even when we just hear about the stupa. Hearing means, for example, you just know that, oh, there's this stupa, and you rejoice in that. So that's the merit that comes from hearing, for example. And that also plants a seed of liberation in the mind stream. Or for example, anyone who circumambulates has this direct physical connection, has the seed of liberation planted in them. And it is also said that whoever circumambulates the stupa and makes their aspiration prayers there, these aspiration prayers will be accomplished. And as that is because if you make many circumambulations, you are really kind of walking around the Buddha's, all the Buddha's mind, their heart. And so therefore, it is said that all wishes will become accomplished. So what is this, what we call Buddha, that we circumambulate and so on? Buddha really is anyone who accomplishes the benefit of sentient beings. And so sentient beings cannot see the actual Buddha often due to their own karmic imprints. And so the stupa then therefore becomes a representation for us to remember that. And so basically, whatever prayer you make, for example, if you've been sick for a really long time and you walk around the stupa and you make your aspiration prayers, many stories of people being healed and so on. And so basically in this and all future lifetimes, whatever a prayer you make, it is that these prayers, the virtuous prayers that you make will become accomplished. And there's also many stories in the past how this has actually happened. So basically the stupa is a place where you make your aspiration prayers. And even if they are worldly or mundane prayers, any virtuous aspiration prayer that you make will be accomplished. And why? Because that is the samaya of all the Buddhas. The samaya is to benefit sentient beings. And so this is the reason why it is so significant and why it kind of becomes like a kind of an embassy of the Buddha, where you can go and have all your requests or wishes fulfilled that you make to the Buddha's heart, which is the stupa. And so therefore, there really is a great benefit to make great aspirations and show great respect and be inspired by such a stupa for this life and also for the purpose of all future lives. So the real Buddhist path is to bring about the benefit of sentient beings. And that is really, in terms of our aspirations, how we should direct our aspirations. Because if we want to benefit others, that's actually our own greatest benefit naturally. But for the most part, when people make prayers, they mainly make prayers for themselves. And there is maybe a small benefit to that, but it's very short-lived, because the root of all suffering is self-grasping. And the Buddha had said, tame your own mind, meaning you should eliminate self-grasping from your mind. And the only way to do that is by cultivating an altruistic mind. And so for this reason, if you make your prayers there with an altruistic intention, then the merit will really be vast. If you make your prayers mainly with a selfish motivation, then the merit will be very limited. So for example, it's just like if you want to grow a flower, and then if you you pour some water into that flower, then for the time being there is some moisture, but it will quickly dry out. But if you cause rain to fall, then you have all the rainfall constantly falling on the flowers and it will never dry out. So a vast aspiration is just like the rainfall, and all pervasive aspiration, benefiting all and not just oneself. So it would be much better, instead of just making prayers for yourself, in order to accumulate great merit, to also have really a vast motivation when making your prayers. And so that is because self-grasping cannot bring great benefits. And the more altruism you cultivate, the more self-grasping will diminish. So again, the stupa is a support for us to accumulate great merit by seeing it or thinking of it or remembering it or coming into direct contact with it or hearing about it and so forth. And so therefore it is a support for one to make offerings, to show great respect and be inspired now and in all future times to come. So that's why I pay homage and show great respect. And that's why we should all pay great respect, pay homage and rejoice in the construction of this stupa. So I rejoice in all of what has happened, the stupa construction, and I extend immeasurable prayers and many dashi delek.
저것들이 죽은 초대게 발도고요. 저것들이 생들이 사실 속차만 보거든요. 신토래들이 속차만 보고 사고요들이 dimbayatana yore, 저 타пол리 저것들이 생 저것들이 배야고요. 그들이 다들 그래 주부 사만들이 같이 가다 먹어요. 들이 또 콜 사만들이 요용 진다용도 사만
Also, it would be good if you would maybe inspire others in the future to plant a fruit tree next to the stupa or flowers, because if you plant a single fruit tree, for example, then actually a single fruit of that becomes the source of sustenance for actually millions of little life forms. And in that way, it becomes an offering, but also an act of generosity. So it would be good to plant fruit trees there. And so with that, I would like to extend my auspicious wishes to all the assembled Sangha here for the ceremony, the donors, and all the other participants. And so I would like to offer you this kata of auspiciousness.
Everyone. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Gracias, gracias, gracias.
Gracias.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you, Rinpoche.
Thank you,
Thank
Rinpoche.
you, Rinpoche. Thank you, Kempo, Chupan, Lama.
Rinpoche, Rinpoche,
Rinpoche,
Rinpoche,
Rinpoche, La.
Rinpoche, Sangha.
Muchas gracias, Eduardo. Thank you.
Ahora traduciremos al español las palabras de
Kempula, you will be doing the Vajra dance now?
¿Ok? Comenzó diciendo Tashi Delek. Es una manera de dar la bienvenida, un aloha, un namaste o qué onda. Un hola. Nos dice, gracias a la familia de esta sangha que nos acompaña hoy. Me postro ante ustedes. Les pago tributo. Aquí presentes hay dos tipos de sangha. La sangha de los monjes, de los lamas, y la sangha de las personas ordinarias. Agradecemos a las sanghas y no solo a estas, sino que nos postramos también, me postro también, ante todas las sanghas sin sesgos de religión o de otra cultura. Porque si pensamos en una religión o en otra, estamos en el reino de lo dual. Y yo me postro ante todas las sanghas, porque todas las sanghas estamos en el mismo camino. Pago tributo y me postro ante el benefactor de la Stupa, Abelardo, y también ante todos los trabajadores, constructores, artesanos, arquitectos de la Stupa. Y también ante todos los que ayuden en el futuro y también a los que inspiren su devoción y crezcan su devoción gracias a esta Stupa. También quiero mencionar cuál es la razón por la cual la Stupa es tan beneficial y tiene tantos méritos y es tan sagrada. La construcción de una stupa es algo realmente valioso y de mucho significado, y da igual el tamaño de la stupa, sea pequeña o sea grande. Una vez la stupa existe en un lugar, entonces ya hay una presencia física y directa del Buda. Entonces sus beneficios son inconcebibles, allá de toda medida. Cuenta también la historia de que había dos niños jugando en la calle con arena y el Buda pasó delante de ellos. Uno de los niños agarró un poco de la arena y ofreció la arena al cuenco tibetano o el cuenco de limosnas del Buda. En el futuro, este niño renació como el gran rey del Dharma, el rey Ashoka, y su mayor acumulación de mérito en vidas pasadas fue ofrecer aquel pedacito de arena, poquito de arena, al cuenco de limosnas del Buda. Y por esto pago tributo al benefactor y también a la sangha, Kempo, todos los lamas, nuestras dakinis que lo hicieron posible. Y a todos que en todas las medidas, a todos los niveles están conectados a la stupa, ya sea presencialmente o virtualmente, los méritos realmente van allá de toda medida. Esta mañana hemos hecho la consagración final de la stupa. Para las personas ordinarias lo vemos todo de manera dual. Vemos al Buda muy de lejos, como algo que ya no entendemos bien qué es, cómo acceder a él, qué significa. Por eso tener la stupa aquí delante de nosotros es una representación directa de la presencia del Buda. Significa que el Buda está aquí, muy cerca. Y si bien las personas ordinarias no vemos al Buda aquí enfrente de nuestros ojos, en todo, dentro de nosotros, por eso construimos stupas para poder ver al Buda directamente aquí delante de nosotros. La actividad del Buda realmente es cualquier actividad que traiga méritos al mundo. Y por ello, constructores, trabajadores, artesanos, arquitectos, familia, amigos que han hecho posible la stupa tienen un inconmensurable mérito. Realmente los Budas de los tres tiempos están siempre presentes.
y ustedes han construido una representación de esta presencia de la mente del Buda. Por muchas vidas por venir, este es un mérito inconcebible. Los beneficios de la stupa son inconcebibles y los suyos, de los trabajadores, del benefactor, realmente sus méritos van más allá de toda medida. Durante la ceremonia de consagración, desde una perspectiva dualista, asumimos que el Buda no estaba antes y ahora, después de consagrar e inaugurar la stupa, ya está aquí. Pero desde una perspectiva no dual, el Buda siempre está aquí. Todo es Dharmakaya. Y todos y todas quienes crean y hagan acciones buenas con compasión y con amor, todos ellos viven ya en Nirmanakaya. Lo que llamamos Buda es sencillamente una persona que libera a los seres sintientes. Se puede decir que incluso un árbol puede ser una emanación del Buda, porque incluso un árbol le da protección y cobijo a miles de animalitos, insectos, y entonces además nos ayuda a respirar a los humanos y a todos los seres sintientes. De la misma forma que un árbol es una emanación del Buda, cualquier persona que ayuda a otros seres sintientes es también una emanación del Buda y trae méritos inconmensurables. La stupa representa físicamente al Buda en este plano y por ello sus beneficios a todos los seres sintientes a su alrededor, todos los que pasen por la carretera adelante, todos los que estén en la zona y en la región, todos para ellos los beneficios van allá más de toda medida concebible. El siguiente punto del significado de la stupa es que de verdad se convierte en una fuente de buenas acciones y de méritos para la zona y para la región. Esta stupa crea circunstancias y condiciones muy favorables que el donante ha hecho posible al construir este templo, esta stupa. Porque ahora ya hay una actividad directa del Buda que trae beneficios infinitos para todos los seres sintientes. La stupa también es un recordatorio de que el amor y la compasión del Buda son infinitos. Y tan solo pensar en la stupa, además de también estar presencialmente, nos da mucho mérito. De la manera en la que te contactes con ella, ya sea pensar en ella o ir a hablar de ella, visualizarla o estar aquí, te trae los beneficios. También dice la manera más directa de conectarte con la stupa y con su poder es caminar en la dirección de las manijas del reloj, alrededor meditando. Hay una historia en el pasado sobre una stupa que se reflejaba sobre un lago. Un insecto murió y estaba flotando su cuerpo sobre la superficie del agua, y de solo estar flotando en el agua, en el reflejo de la stupa, eso plantó la semilla de la liberación en el insecto. Estas historias las contamos para que los seres sintientes que vivimos en lo dual desarrollen confianza. Y también hemos donado reliquias muy especiales del Buda para desarrollar y dar confianza, para que sepan que hay objetos especiales y muy sagrados dentro de esta stupa. Además, estas reliquias son muy especiales porque vienen de... The relics come from Chen Rinpoche? Shetsang Rinpoche. Su santidad, Shetsang Rinpoche. Y él las recibió de su padre, que a su vez las recibió del Dalai Lama de aquel entonces. Entonces, estas reliquias del Buda son muy especiales y él las recibió. Son especiales además porque sus méritos se multiplican siempre y cuando vayan siendo pasadas de persona en persona. Y así ha pasado porque ahora llegaron a él después de una cadena de personas y él las ha estado donando a muchos proyectos, entre otros a esta stupa. Sus beneficios se han ido multiplicando y ahora están aquí. La stupa se vuelve un apoyo para que otros recordemos nuestra naturaleza búdica. Tan solo escuchar hablar de la stupa es plantar la semilla de la liberación en otros seres sintientes. Quien haga sus oraciones de aspiración dentro de la stupa o alrededor caminando, estas plegarias, estas oraciones se harán realidad, de verdad se realizarán. Debido a nuestro karma no vemos al Buda en todos y en todo. Por eso la stupa es un recordatorio de que el Buda está en nosotros y alrededor nuestro. ¿Y quién es Buda? Buda es sencillamente alguien que da infinito e inconmensurable beneficio a todos los seres sintientes. Escuchamos también muchos milagros que se han hecho realidad cuando personas han hecho sus oraciones de aspiración dentro de la stupa. Es un lugar, la stupa es un lugar donde hacemos nuestras oraciones de aspiración, nuestros deseos, nuestros anhelos y se hacen realidad. ¿Por qué? Porque este es el samaya de todos los budas, darnos a nosotros los seres sintientes los anhelos más profundos de nuestro corazón. El camino verdadero búdico sencillamente es dar méritos y hacer buenas acciones para otros. Y muchas veces cuando hacemos plegarias o oraciones las hacemos para nosotros, para los nuestros, para nuestras familias. Pero eso realmente no da mucho beneficio. Entonces lo que hay que hacer es traspasar el yo, el mi familia, los míos, para que así podamos crear méritos infinitos. ¿Y cómo se hace esto? Se hace cultivando comportamientos altruistas dentro de nosotros. Garchen Rinpoche pone el ejemplo de es como hacer crecer una flor. Si tienes un jardín de flores, puedes echarle agua tú todos los días desde tu regadera, pero los beneficios no van a ser muchos porque rápidamente se seca ese agua. Sin embargo, una aspiración basta es pedir la lluvia constante, porque si siempre está lloviendo de manera constante todos los días un poco, eso dará crecimiento a la flor. El aferramiento al yo no nos va a dar muchos méritos. Por tanto, nuestro deber y aspiración debe de ser pedir por otros, pedir por todos los seres sintientes. Y por ello también debemos pagar tributo a esta construcción de la stupa y a todos los que lo han hecho posible, porque nos lo recuerdan. Y finalmente dice, será bueno si pueden invitar e inspirar que en el futuro se siembren árboles de frutos alrededor de esta stupa, porque estos frutos serán bendecidos y darán sustancia a muchos seres sintientes. Y con eso extiendo mis deseos y agradecimiento a todos los que están allí, también virtualmente, participantes, al benefactor, a la sangha de Kempo y los lamas y las dakinis, y a los constructores. Y también ofreció y recibió a Abelardo una cata de él. Y después dijimos long life, que significa larga vida y Tashi Delek.
Tashi Delek. Okay, so now we're going to take short break. So come back to 12, maybe 10, 12, 10, 20 minutes break. Yes, we're going to do the Lama Chupa with the Tsok together. So Ati, are you there? So Ati, she is the donor for Tsok. Thank you, Ati.
Vamos a tomar un descanso ahora y después volvemos para una ofrenda.